Hey guys, it's Evan. This is my vlog part two. I had to take a break and I'm back. And I was saying in so many words just that, like, philosophy for me is crucial. And I think that if I can share it with anyone to do anything, it's to get into philosophy. Like, philosophy has helped me, it helps me all day, every day with everything that I do. And it always has. And maybe it's just been my identity and things like that as far as like I think my upbringing and the cultural things that I was taught, the lessons I was taught as a child that make me grow up to be that person. And I also think that, learning a skill that I was passionate about, like building race engines and taking off in that sense, and also losing my life multiple times and then being at the risk of losing my life again time and time again with these surgeries from with the surgery for my spine. So I just get on these vlogs and I share my story and where I'm at, because the reality is that the justice system has failed me and continues to fail me. And even though I sit here and say, well, it fails everyone, I feel like that's too often the narrative. Well, that's just the way things are, and that it really isn't the way things are, and it's not the way things should be. It's just there are very few people that come to this comprehension as I have, because I lost my life, and that's why I want to share with people. Really dig into philosophy, and I think there are so many different do you how you can be you, so many, and we're fed so much misinformation on how to discover yourself and deal with your circumstance. But the best way is for you to deal with yourself. Yes, I understand God's dealing with me, God's dealt with me, he continues to deal with me, but at the same time, like, I have to deal with myself, just like the person who did what they did to me, and the people who have done what they've done to me have to deal with themselves too. And I think about it like, can I live with and can I be that person that has done these things that have been done to me? No. And that's exactly why I'm me. That's exactly why I have been, if you want to say, chosen, or have been, people have asked me, well, why you? Well, at the time I didn't understand. I don't know, I guess because I worked with people similar to me, I guess maybe I didn't really, also I wasn't paying attention to that. Like, I think when, and I think that was the point that I was trying to make, and I riffed off into these up like moments and lessons of my upbringing. But I have learned that it's okay to protect myself. It's okay to share the message of, like, defend yourself safely in dangerous times. I mean, that is danger. In a spiritual way, I've been taught when the devil comes, he comes aggressive, so you need to come back aggressive. Like, you need to combat the devil aggressively, because that's how he comes. Like, he doesn't come like this. The devil comes to take, and he doesn't discriminate. Evil comes in all forms. Like, as a scientific man, and my faith is very based in science, I understand that evil is the literal explanation for the absence of nothing and separation and division. And I think so many times society in the world has this comprehension of evil in such a spiritual way that in a scientific way they eliminate its force. And I think that maybe because that's man, and naturally that's what we want to admit to ourselves because it's an easy explanation. If we do not admit that the absence of nothing is the most powerful moment, then we cannot accept the positivity. We cannot accept the plus. We cannot accept the abundance, the wealth, the blessing. It is in those moments of accepting, like for myself, accepting that there is a dark energy in me, and it can be used to accept the positive, the good. And for that very reason, I think that's why having that comprehension and taught that ideology as a child throughout my upbringing, that science is very critical and knowledge is very important. And to continue to educate myself is crucial. And I think because of that, I know that philosophy is living. Spirituality is not living. Spirituality is more theological, and I think with theology it's more ideas. So these are just like you're not living life. Philosophy is genuinely understanding yourself, the fragments, the whole self of yourself, and living those concepts out. And I think that even psychology is not really living. And I mean, if you sit here and try to, I guess, micro-diagnose every single component of a being, I mean, it'd be there all day, you know. But and I think that philosophy, no matter what discipline, from every discipline, if you're studying all types of all realms of science, down to if you're a Dollar Tree clerk, you know, if you're a Dollar Tree employee, I think that philosophy is is very key to to living life. You know, how do you live without a sense of belief in anything? That does not come through spirituality, and I'm sorry to say, as a man of science, that aspect of living is not in the Bible, you know, and that aspect of it's not just life, but I think for myself, I do not believe that the God that created me can be so weak to surrender himself to any form of man because he created us. And even in a form, in all different forms of Christianity or other religions, those gods, do they present themselves? Do they manifest themselves? Yes, but even those real, true religious icons or idols, they, I think they don't really have, they're more showing and displaying life, but it is the form of living and the concept of living. And even some religions really hone in on manifestation and reincarnation, but also like how can you accept that if you don't have a true general philosophy on the comprehension of your religion? And for me, philosophy is key. I think that philosophy, to be honest with you, science is rooted in my core, in my identity. And I think because of that, I have such a blessed understanding of philosophy. And even with science, I if I didn't have such a philosophical view on designs, on architect, on engineering, then I truly don't think that mechanically I could construct things. Truly, I don't think that I can create and design and accept that God is not one in me, but God is not a part of, you know, this intelligence, this skill that I'm blessed with to create and design and build things. So if I can't sit here and say I created this and God had absolutely nothing to do with, like, I designed this, I created it, and God had absolutely nothing to do with it. This was all me by myself. And the real power is these batteries and this laser. And no, like, I can say, like, you know, this is something that God created me, and that is something that is very intimate, and like my religion and my spirituality and my identity is very intimate, And when someone or some entities choose to violate and make excuses of the knowing and the unknowing, then that's why I encourage so many people, if you watch or if you chime in or if you hear, don't just pick up a book about philosophy. I encourage you honestly to YouTube philosophy and TikTok. Get on TikTok. Get on digital interwebs. Don't read a book. Get on Hoopla at midnight and be that person that gets your free education because like one time my sister spent like almost 50 bucks on some Taylor Swift album and I'm like, why? It's free on Hoopla. You can download it. So like there's so many things that are free and also like I hate to say it, but um just books are not the same anymore. I like to collect books. I'm always on the lookout for the next Stephen King book that's on the, I love Stephen King. Stephen King was the first book I ever read as a child, and I never went back. So when the teacher would say lights out nap time, I would just crawl over to the corner of the bookshelf and I would just be like, okay. And honestly, it was like her collection of books. So I don't know, but I would read them. And that was my teacher. Her name was Miss Makita, like the tool, Makita. And Miss Makita, she taught me how to wash my hands. She taught me to read, and I don't know. She was always very just soft and nice with me and kind, and she would always just like lay me down for nap time and leave me with a book. And she always gave me books all the time. So, and I think that's where like my love for books came. I would always get bullied and picked on as a kid. Well, I still get bullied and picked on as an adult, so not much has changed. But I was bullied for a lot of reasons, and I was in a class where I can't remember his name. I think his name was Mr. Arturo. I could be wrong. I don't know this man's name, but he taught like ESL, and would sit with him, and he would help me, and because I would get bullied on how I talked, so he would just help me. And then my next teacher, I think her name was Miss Mystique, like X-Men. Miss Mystique taught me with teddy bears, like the little math teddy bears. She taught me math. Mm. Back then, it was like the thing to do, like the sticker chart with the sticker, and you always got golden stars. And I mean, these are just things that I think for me, Miss Makita was super key in my love for books. I don't think I ever would have fallen in love before I fell in love with cars. I fell in love with books. Like books were my everything. And I remember my first day in automotive school. Like I was the only one that read all the textbooks. And Judd was like, "You read it?" And I was like, "Yeah." I read Threads, Nuts, and Bolts, and a pretty big book. At the time, I was just like ready doing my thing. Now I can't even do my homework, but when I fell in love with cars, I never looked back. The first time I heard the first LS engine rev up, I said, I'm never looking back on life. I never knew what life was. There has been nothing in this world that has ever made me feel that way. There's been nothing in this world that's ever taken my breath away, that has ever just made my heart feel like it just yanked out and wham and slammed the floor. Other than when I heard my first LS engine start up, and I was just like, this is love. Is this love that I'm feeling? Yes. So, anyways, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I'm like everyone else going through a lot, but I'm learning not to downplay it, and I need to rest and recover. So peace out.